really not gonna sign a prenup?
No, I'm not signing no prenup. What you got is what I got.
Okay, but I don't understand why would you not want to sign? Basically, our love is
Your
real.
money is my money. Simple as that.
Okay, why are we going straight to the money? It don't have me. All I'm doing is my lawyers are telling me that I have to protect myself, and it's not from you, but it's just
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Everything that you bring in the house, is mine too.
Nah, because I mean, what did you come with? What did you come with that you deserve? The thing you just don't like? Like, this is for our own protection. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care what you say. It's my money too. Simple as that.
But see, the lawyer said that's what you was gonna do, though. They were saying you was not.
No, he didn't.
So what's the point of you not signing the prenup,
The
though?
money that you bring home is mine too. Simple as that. End the conversation.
That's crazy. So I guess there ain't gonna be no wedding then.
Whatever. It's gonna be a wedding.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So when it comes to prenups, there are really two sides to the story. There's one set of people who think that asking for a prenup is a sign of trust issues, and the partner who asks for the prenup is already preempting that the relationship is going to end. And then there's another set of people who think that it's important to protect the assets that you're coming into the marriage with. What side of this conversation are you on? Let me know in the comments. Let's get into the video.
With this prenup, basically, if I'm a stay-at-home mom and something happened to us, worst case scenario, and we don't make it, what's going to happen to me? I have to go back home because I stay home, take care of your children, and I didn't bill myself. If we were to split up or divorce, whether it's 1 year, 10 years, or 25 years from now, nothing in the prenup covers me. It says that Bilal will remain with what he has, and whatever I accumulate in our marriage, it has to be joint. That's what I read.
Are relationship prenups a good idea?
I say yes. I think that they're a really good idea. I mean, by the time that you get to the point where you don't want to be with each other anymore, you want it to go as smoothly as possible. And at this point, you can pull out that piece of paper and be like, this is yours, this is mine, and you can separate in a nice, amicable way.
I'm done. I'm done. I don't want any of this. Take it. I'm out. I think if you have a prenup or if you have some sort of contract, you're already going into the relationship with an expiration date. You're thinking, I'm gonna break up with you.
So I was super like team prenup and like my wife gets nothing if we divorce. But then I also thought about I would like my wife to be a stay-at-home mom. How can I ask my wife to give up her career and her chance at making money and building a life if we ended up divorcing, she got nothing? Now I'm team like find a woman that deserves half of my and sign no prenup, because then she does have the security of if we get divorced, I get half your I'm not kind of like left with no career experience, like all this stuff. I was team like life partner, but that doesn't seem like very trust.
Wouldn't you think that if it's your life partner in that situation, if it came to that, you would still get their back?
Like, I think the ritual exists for a reason, you know what I mean? Like rituals and like doing things purposefully. How many times have I trusted someone like a business partner and I fully trusted them and then they scummed me later down the line?
I believe in prenups. But I also want to say my views on marriage in the future have changed since hanging out with you guys. I always said that I wanted a woman that would also work. Nowadays, like, I want to take care of her.
Oh, that's so cute. That made me feel nice.
It's almost like going from like a little boy mindset of relationships to like being a man.
Okay, so when it comes to prenups, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all solution that would work for everyone. I think on a case-by-case basis, couple by couple, asset by asset, these things should be discussed by both parties. But when it comes to stay-at-home mom, or if the man asks the woman to be a stay-at-home mom where she gives up her career, she gives up any form of skill building that could help her in the future, then I think it's unfair to ask her to sign a prenup, be a stay-at-home mom, and then if the marriage ends, she gets nothing, and she's also at a disadvantage in life because she spent years of her life being a mom and she has nothing on her resume. She maybe went to college, didn't pursue a career, and if she is to go back into the workforce now, she would have to start at an entry-level position, which maybe by the time that she's in that situation, she may be in her late 30s, late 40s, and an entry-level position won't be enough to support her and help to support the kids in the event that the marriage ends. But I do know there are different clauses to certain prenups, so you can have a clause that says that the woman would get X amount of money for each year or X amount of money for each child that she has. So it really depends on what the couple would sit down and get proper legal advice to do. I don't think that this is something you should run into without any legal advice. This isn't something that you should run into just because one party says that they want it. Both people have to see the value in it for themselves, or else there could be a lot of resentment in the relationship, because if my husband to be came to me and said, you should sign a prenup because I don't want you getting half of my stuff, but I see no value in it for myself. And there's nothing in it that would protect me. Let's say he steps out. Let's say there's infidelity. He cheats on me and I want to break up. It means that I'm hurt because he cheated on me. And I am also hurt because now I am left without any form of security, without any form of income, and I have to start my life all over again as if we weren't married to begin with. And so to me, that whole marriage would have been a waste because I am severely disadvantaged at the point that we get a divorce.
Let me tell you what my husband says. He says that if a man asks you to sign a prenup, run. Because he's not a provider, like he's already keeping something from you, and he's already in that mindset of like trying to protect himself, and like he's already saying, this is mine, this is yours. So that's what my husband thinks about it. I've never personally like been in that situation where I've had to give even any thought to that.
Prenups, especially for Black women, are one of the most important things that you could ever get. Let me tell you why. First off, this isn't financial advice. I'm just someone that loves knowledge and learning from other people's mistakes. Prenups are simply debt allocation agreements. It allows you off the hook if your partner during your marriage gets into serious debt. That's the main function of it. See why this could be important? Say your partner decides to spend all of your money, or they have a sudden gambling problem. You're not on the hook for that because you got a prenup. And for you girlies who are super into bagging a rich man, this is especially important for you. Because in case you didn't know, rich people have a lot of debt. Debt isn't a bad thing to rich people. It's a tool that is utilized. And say you come into the marriage with not as many assets, but suddenly you have to leave the marriage and that debt is in your name. Debt that you were not aware of and debt that you did not acquire. Getting a prenup is one of the best things you can do if you're going to get married because it starts opening the path to very clear communication. You can put all sorts of things in it to protect your interests. The issue is that a lot of people don't read the fine print, or they won't read the prenup because they're too in love, or they don't get representation to read the prenup and they don't negotiate it and they just sign whatever, only realizing years later that they got screwed. So please get a prenup, especially Black women.
An attorney on TikTok encourages all women to get a prenup after soccer player, I'm not going to say his name, is said to get half of his wife's net worth after she filed for divorce. Oh, this should be interesting.
So if you haven't heard, Moroccan soccer player Hakimi is engaged in this vicious divorce battle with his soon-to-be ex-wife over assets to be distributed upon a divorce. The problem is Hakimi took all of his assets and put them in his mama's name. Now, the fact that he did that...
The fact that she said it was a problem that he did that he put all his stuff in his mother's name is ridiculous, especially considering everybody knows that men lose their stuff way more often than women do. But we'll talk on that after. My fault.
Now, the fact that he did that, that's a whole nother video. I'm going to give you tips on how to make sure you never end up in this situation. Step 1, get a prenup. I've talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it again. And you might be thinking where they're located and whose name they're in. If she would have done that, she would have known from the beginning he has nothing in his name. Step 2, I want you to have a provision in your prenup that requires you to get paid out for every year that you are sitting at home, taking care of the family and taking care of the kids. Have a payout clause for every child you bring into this world. And you might be thinking, oh, you're not doing a big job by bringing a child into this world. It's your duty. Shut up. Okay? Shut up.
So you want to get paid to both watch kids and have them. One, most couples who are making mid to high six figures, I'm talking 300,000 and up, are not watching the kids themselves. Usually they have a nanny to do that. 2, if a guy's going to pay you to have his kids, he could just go get a surrogate. Period. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't good women who are in relationships that are being taken advantage of financially because of the man, and that could be true. But this isn't that case. You're upset because she chose to leave because she was unhappy and he's getting half her stuff?
I've been crying all morning, so get ready with me to sign my prenup. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but at 32 years old, I'm crying on the floor of my apartment. I've seriously never heard anyone talking about this online. Getting ready for a wedding is not necessarily all fun and games, and I feel like I want to be honest about it. Maybe a lot of people just don't get prenups, and just be ready if you are thinking about getting one. It seriously feels like a mini divorce. Like you have to get a lawyer, and the lawyers argue, like your partner has to get a lawyer also, and they literally argue over like what's fair. You go back and forth, and then like as you're trying to plan your wedding and be all happy, you have to sign this really sad document about like when you're going to get divorced and all these things and who gets what. It's also a major wake-up call that getting married is a legally binding contract. Like, it's not just a fun party, it's so real. Before anyone asks, I'm actually the one who asked for the prenup, so my lawyers had to write it up, and then like they went over to him, but it was my idea in the first place. I just really don't ever want to break up, and going through this whole process just really makes it feel like, well, you might, like, you never know. I also could be oversensitive because my parents are split up, his parents are split up, like it feels so real, and I think I just need to breathe. I seriously just need to breathe. Everything is going to be fine, and honestly, everything else with the wedding planning is amazing. I have my second bridal fitting tomorrow at Vera Wang. I'm seriously so excited. They did basically tell me I have to lose like 3 to 5 pounds though. They didn't say it so directly, but I was like, oh my god, this dress feels really tight. They go, oh, don't worry, most of our brides lose 3 to 5 pounds by their next fitting. You're gonna be fine, which is like, okay, you want me to lose 3 to 5 pounds by my next fitting? Anyway, it is gonna be fine. I think I did though, thanks to Burberry. And I actually just landed in New York this morning, so I'm gonna see if I can convince my mom to go with me to Hermes this afternoon. So all of that. Ow, oh my god, my eyeball. Right, I'm crying again. No, because I cannot cry any more tears today. I think we recovered. I also feel a lot better after talking to you. Like, I feel like I needed to get it off my chest. And shout out to Hourglass. These juicy things are so gorgeous. Okay, that is it. Wish me luck. I love you.
If you're marrying a successful guy like some of the guys on this panel, and he says, I love you, but before we do this, we're going to need to do a prenup, what would you say?
If I was a hardworking person and I was doing my job and I was building my career and they said, that's perfectly fine, you can do that. If they asked for a prenup, that would be fine for me. If they said, I'm going to fly you out, I don't want you to work, we're going to have 3 kids and we're going to be together for a long time, and then from all of a sudden, they want a divorce, I'd be like, yeah, I'm taking the half in that case because I've sacrificed years having our children and now you're just going to dump me with no career, nothing. You know, that's how I would feel about it.
Well played.
I love a good prenup conversation because it gives you the opportunity to have some very explicit conversations surrounding money that will apply to the relationship going forward, and in the event, God forbid, that the relationship should dissolve one day. I think it's very healthy and good to negotiate some fair terms for a split while you're still in each other's good graces. If you wait until the relationship is at an end where bitterness, hurt, and resentment and anger has built up, you all may not act fairly towards each other. So I think this is a good time for you to get some terms settled in your favor. If he has assets that he obtained before the marriage that he would like to protect, that's great. And if you have assets that you would like to protect, even better. But let's say you don't have any assets to protect and he does. I don't think you should ever sign a prenup that leaves you out in the cold. I think that if the intention of the marriage is to produce children, no matter how many assets you do or don't have, you are going to be the one, as the mother, who will most likely end up being the primary and default parent. You are the one who will have to sacrifice your career more often than not, and you are the one who is going to put in the most sweat equity with the children. No matter how good or how involved this man may or may not be, you as the mother of the children should have some security in place. Having these kids, let me tell you something. So I think it's a good time to just say, hey, all right, well, for every year that we're married, I get X amount of dollars. Everything before the marriage is all yours, but everything you earn going forward, we split 50-50. In the event, that we have children, this is the amounts that I want. Have a conversation about money. It also gives you a little window to have a conversation about money during the marriage, what your expectations would be for financial support from your husband if you haven't already had these conversations. So I can't tell people what to put or not put in a prenup. I think prenups give a really great opportunity for both parties to be protected. And if a man is pressuring you to sign a prenup in which you are not protected, it kind of lets you know the end from the beginning as to what value he places or doesn't place on the work and contribution as the wife in the relationship, the woman in his life, and potentially the mother to his children.
If you are getting married and you're thinking about getting a prenup, I would say get a lawyer, get some solid legal advice, and actually understand everything that you're signing to, and all the clauses that you're going to put into the prenup needs to be beneficial for both people. If you are expected to be a stay-at-home mom, then you need to get something to compensate for your time as a stay-at-home mom where you're not expanding your skill set, you're not going to school, you're not furthering your education or your skills, you are not earning income yourself, and therefore by default, everything that he earns, if it's a traditional prenup, he would have everything and you would have nothing because you did not accumulate any of this wealth yourself. And as much as you might love this person that you're with and you're thinking, oh, I don't really want to ask for much. I don't really want to put the clauses in there because he might think that, I want to take his things. You have to think about the likely possibility that the relationship might not work out and you are going to be left with nothing. I think it's wise to protect your assets. I think it's wise to have conversations about, in the event that we get divorced, how will we split this house that was willed to me by my great grandfather? How are we going to split this business that I built 10 years before I met you? Conversations like that, I think, are productive, they are real, and they should happen, but not without legal advice and not under duress. So if your wedding is next week, today shouldn't be the first day you know that there is a prenup that's to be signed. And don't think that you're asking for too much if you put clauses into your prenup. There are a lot of women who they don't want to get a prenup because they're really not that into the guy. And if they break up, they want to make sure that they can get as much of his assets as possible. And there are also men who want a prenup because they don't want to give anything to this woman and leave her out in the cold. And that's not a good situation to be in either. So there are many nuances to the prenup conversation and many things that could go wrong. So the best advice all around is get a lawyer. Let me know what your thoughts are on prenups. Are you for or against? Would you sign or not sign a prenup? And if you do have one, let me know why you did. I'll see you in the comments and I'll see you in my next video.